Have we finally found a true Guinness rival? Let's find out. Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, today I'm taking a look at this. It is called a London Black from Anspach Hobday, and it is effectively the first proper craft Guinness alternative that has launched in the UK, at least. Now I should point out that all of those other craft Guinness alternatives I've covered before aren't not true Guinness alternatives, but this one actually came around first, but it was in tap only form for so long, and to be honest, every time I tried to find it, it was off in any of their locations. On the Anspach Hobday website, it actually got so popular they had to create an interactive map of venues that sold it, but not all venues sold it all the time, and as a result I never actually found any. So what is it? Well, it is a 4.4% independent Nitro porter. They are really selling it hard, the fact that it's not from a big company like Guinness. It's an independent, they are a craft brewer, Anspach Hobday from London. It's called London Black. The can art is, well, it's black and gold, as pretty much all of these kind of Guinness alternatives are. They first released this in can about a month ago, just before I was set to go on my most recent trip to Scotland, and by the time I got home it sold out. I couldn't order before I went because it would have turned up while I was away, and so on and so forth, but finally we've got a can. Just before I crack into it, my kind of anticipation with this is that it is going to be more like Guinness than any of the others that we've tried so far. The two that really stick out in terms of UK brewed alternatives are that Brewdog one that everyone knows about. It's in the supermarkets, the Black Heart I believe it's called, and of course the one from my local brewery, Blue Monkey, which I've been banging on about for ages. That's their Nitro Gorilla, which is fantastic, but it is still so much more flavourful than Guinness. Some I reckon would argue that maybe it's not an alternative to it, but just a brilliant Nitro drink on its own. Siren and so on do their own Nitro stouts, but they're often more flavoured though. They're definitely not a Guinness rival, but this one, yeah, is kind of thing. And Guinness, well, I'm not going to say Guinness is a stout, this says it's a Nitro Porter, but actually Guinness originally was branded as a stout, and they just changed the naming convention because, well, they could. Right then, let's get this open. I'm going to do the unthinkable and pour a non-Guinness product into a Guinness glass, which I know is just not the right thing to do, but it just kind of makes sense in this case. I don't have an Anspach Hobday glass. They do sell them for London Black, but they only had them in half-pint form on their website, and well, that's not what I'm pouring. So, in theory, these cans should kind of fill the glass. Obviously, it's not a pint can, but with that extra volume from the Nitro, it should pretty much fill it. So normal hard pour method. In fact, does it give us any instructions before I just do this blindly? It just says pour robustly, settle and enjoy. So let's see how it gets on. Absolute carnage. I mean, the cascading has gone pretty well. It's nearly done already. Huge amounts of foam. I'll be honest, very similar in appearance to the Brewdog one, that Blue Monkey one. They're never quite as creamy as Guinness. Of course, the Guinness Nitro cans have got a widget in them, whereas these don't, which probably makes quite a bit of difference. The heads tend to be just that bit thicker as well for some reason, but other than it looking, well, a bit bubbly on top, and we can blame my pour for that if we want to, but actually, side profile, the head on that looks absolutely stunning. Grade A stuff there, it really does look like. Yeah, I mean, I've just noticed that the very bottom of my Guinness glass maybe could have been a touch cleaner, but they're pretty difficult to clean in that little kind of crevice that has appeared due to the moulding on the glass there. But yeah, definitely looks the business. Aroma wise, well, move this slightly out of the way, it does smell more like Guinness, I think, from memory at least, than anything else that's trying to be like Guinness. It's got a distinct, sweet, almost milky, like verging on lactose beer, even though it's not. It's got a really nice, depthy coffee note to it, but it's not strong. It's more yeah, punchy espresso with a load of double cream added to it. It's like kind of, you can tell there was some proper robustness there, but it's been chilled out by some nice big sweet notes. And it really is very coffee forward. But again, it doesn't feel like a coffee stout. It's just the roasty profile of it is, yeah, very coffee facing, and there's not really a lot else to it, but it smells, and I'm not kidding, absolutely incredible. So let's get into it, shall we? Cheers. Oh my gut feeling was correct. This feels like really, really good Guinness. And that some people might take offence from, like, this is a craft brewery, of course it's got more flavour, it has got a bit more flavour, it's got a bit more body, it's got a bit more of everything. But the softness, the subtlety, the approachability of a really good pint of Guinness is in that. Like, that is what it feels like. Don't get me wrong, given the choice, I'm still gonna fly the flag for my local brewery and their offering, because ultimately, as a bit of a beer nerd, I like the bigger, brasher flavour of it. But in terms of just rivaling Guinness in the mainstream boozer, that is an absolutely cracking job. Now, I do have a bit of insight as to why this has only just become available in cans. A little birdie told me that they tried it a while ago, and actually they just weren't getting the results they wanted. And I'll be honest, when I poured this and it was all kind of bubbly and foamy and horrible, and also, update on that, look at the top of it now. It's pretty settled, it's pretty chill. It looks, again, just like a Guinness, give or take. But yeah, when I poured it, I thought, oh, they've still not got it right. There's going to be something off with this. No, this is exceptionally good. And one thing I do need to point out on the visual of this, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell. I don't think it will come across, but let me get my phone torch on here. They haven't just called it a porter because they want it to be a little bit different. It is a ruby red porter. It's dark, it's very dark, but hold it up to the light and as you can see, there's definitely a bit of red glistening through there. So what does it really, really taste like? Well, top to bottom taste test time. So right on the tip of the tongue, weirdly rich and intense for, well, any beer. Most beers on the tip of the tongue, they give you a hint as to the kind of the body and whether it's going to be refreshing or a bit thick and sickly or whatever. But really, very rarely deliver massive, massive amounts of flavour. This though, well, it is just absolutely there. Big coffee note, big, rich, I'm not going to go as far as to say proper dark roast, but kind of a potent, fruity coffee. It's got some red berry notes in there, maybe a hint of dark chocolate as well. Absolutely beautiful stuff. Then, across the first third of the tongue, it chills out a little bit. Coffee note remains, but it's definitely not strong over the top. It's just subtle, it's soft. Bit of sweetness. And I can't believe I'm about to say this about something brewed in London, and I'm just going to double check that it is. Okay, interestingly, it doesn't actually say, it just says London's original Nitro Porter. I mean, their brewery is in London, so unless they've now started moving production of this elsewhere, I'm going to assume it is. And the reason that I'm kind of fascinated by that is that it's got a proper, decent, mineral quality water vibe, which is, well, let's be honest, not something that London is particularly known for. Anyway, on to the mid palate. Coffee builds back in. It's still not strong, but it is the darker, more earthy tones, a bit of licorice perhaps. It stays throughout. It's pretty one-dimensional in terms of most of it tastes like coffee, but it's definitely giving you a bit of a journey through kind of different coffee styles. Then onto the back of the palate. Back into sweeter coffee territory again. You know, latte, big, thick, indulgent, loads of kind of lactose sweetness vibes. Like I said, again, even though it's not a lactose beer. And yeah, absolutely very well-rounded indeed. Then on the aftertaste, a few berry notes come back like they were right on the tip of the tongue, bit of chocolate again, and it's bookended by that really. It's soft, it's subtle, it's approachable. If you analyse it, it is actually really, really tasty, and I could drink an awful lot of that. Like, I'm kind of glad I've not found it on tap, to be honest, because, well, that would be a day that ended quite badly. It is so easy to drink. I've gone through half of it already, and I've been kind of trying to reserve myself so I can actually get the flavour notes out of it, because, well, yeah, I am really, really digging this. It's not a craft Guinness, it is just the best possible result of trying to create something Guinness-like, but with taking everything into account. Nitro stouts are fantastic. I love them. Stouts one of my favourite styles anyway, and I think if you can get enough flavour in it and then add the nitro, because obviously the nitro dials the flavour back a little bit. I have done a video on that, which I'll try and link up there if I happen to remember, but the difference between regular and nitro stouts and how the nitro affects the beer. But in short, yes, it dulls the flavour down a bit. This, it feels like it probably was incredibly flavourful to start with. They've dropped it down. It's just at the right point, but they've considered everything in terms of the marketing. It's not just a really good nitro craft stout or porter, but what it is a really good, solid, proper alternative to your average Guinness drinker. And by average, I mean the person who just knows that's the beer they like and they order it every time because it's available everywhere. And they're probably not people who are necessarily interested in the nitty-gritty of it like we are, but you get the idea. But still, for me, it is absolutely fantastic. I'm torn here because it's a better interpretation of something that's really close to Guinness but being better than it. I have no doubt this would rank higher. That Brewdog one did not, by the way, in the blind taste test, and I think you can see where this is going. I'm sure there'll be a taste test coming soon, but right here, right now, it's a better Guinness clone, but it maybe isn't the best, most impressive nitro stout or porter. But that's not really what they were trying to do. They were trying to get this to be a genuine UK London brewed alternative, and well, they've absolutely smashed it. Quick look at the can just before we wrap this up. It says London's original porter. Inspired by London's brewing heritage, this is a truly sessionable London porter brewed for a smoother mouthfeel, perfectly balanced with cascading notes of coffee and velvety chocolate. They're not wrong, that is literally all of the flavour notes. A beer that champions the rich history and heritage of London's porters and modern independent brewing. The result is London Black, a beer that is easy drinking whilst full of character. Yeah, I mean, they know what they've made because that description is spot on. Very rarely do I say that about breweries' descriptions, at least from my point of view. Of course, it's all subjective. And to be honest, that's pretty much all I've got to say about it. Have you tried this, or are you going to try it? Let me know, please, in the comments below. Are there any other nitro stouts or porters other than the ones I've mentioned today that I should be tasting and getting in for a bit of a mass taste test at some point? Again, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, that really is everything. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you would be so kind. And I'll catch you next time. Cheers.